Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Abington Heights podcast, Comet Convos. My name is Hannah Siddiqui, and I will be your host. So just a little bit about the podcast and how it was started, since this is our first episode. I had always been drawn to the idea of possibly starting a podcast, and when our age media advisor, shout out Miss Owens, introduced this idea of creating one for the school, I was immediately sold. And so that kind of led me to wonder what kind of direction we could go with it. And then I started brainstorming different ideas, thinking about episodes, and I just became even more excited with this podcast. So that being said, we have plenty of episodes lined up for this season, and we're going to be talking about everything from how to succeed in high school, to the journey through high school, as you'll see through this episode, to everything in between, to happenings in the school. It's going to be incredible. We're going to be having everyone from students to alumni to teachers and administrators on this, and it's going to be just a wonderful, wonderful time. So another great part about this podcast that I want to mention is that it is entirely dependent on what you guys in the school want to hear and want to talk about. So if any of you guys have any ideas, or even if you'd like to be a guest on it, please feel free to reach out to me or to Miss Owens, and we would be more than happy to hear about them. So now, transitioning into today's episode, I want to welcome our guests. And first off, today's episode is called School Diaries, A Journey from Freshman to Senior Year. And as I said, I have a wonderful panel of 4 ladies with me from each grade. And hopefully from their insight, we will be able to debrief and discuss what each year of high school has been like for them and how each year has shaped them and any pieces of advice they'd like to share. So the floor is going to be pretty much theirs today. I do have some questions to guide them, but this is all about them today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Eva Bourcier, who is our freshman, Hanah Gomaa, who is our sophomore, Gabby Bourcier, who is our junior, and Sarah Armstrong, who is our senior. So I'd love for them to introduce themselves a little bit. So why don't we start youngest to oldest? Eva, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name's Eva, and I'm a freshman, and yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, Hannah.
My name's Hannah, and I'm a sophomore, and I'm really excited to be here.
Gabby.
Hi, I'm Gabby, and when Hannah asked me to be on Comet Convos, I was so excited. As you know, I'm a junior, and I'm in Interact Club and other things in the school like that I participate in.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a senior, and I'm very happy to be here today.
Amazing. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so excited to get started. So let's just dive right in. First off, this is a question I have for everybody, just to kind of set the scene. Oh, this is suspenseful now. Okay, no, it's very casual. Why don't we start? Who would like to start first of all? I'm gonna ask a question, then you can decide. So I wanted to ask you guys, what would you say is the most stressful or memorable part of the years that you've had so far? I know, Eva, you've only had one, but you can decide who would like to go first. Putting you on the spot.
I think the most stressful part of my years here would definitely be just figuring out where to go and what I want to do, and just making a path for myself in high school, for classes, for example, just really paving a way for myself to strive at those goals.
Definitely. I think that's a very big part of the journey for most people in high school. So thank you for that.
I think the most memorable part is Hannah said, wherever you choose to take your courses or your path in high school, we all find ourselves back in our classrooms, and whether that may be with the people you know, your friends, or new people, you create memorable moments each year in those rooms.
I would say my most stressful part of high school was definitely freshman year, because it was the COVID year. So we were online and didn't even meet my teachers in person until a few months in. I was personally online my entire freshman year, so I never came into the school, and it was just really hard going back and forth from hybrid and all of that while just starting out high school. And that transition was really difficult for me.
I really think the most stressful part of the year is deciding classes, because you're so worried about where your path will end up and if you're taking the right classes for what you want to go in when you're older. And besides like a hard test or two, that's really something hard, and you don't want to go where your friends are going. You want to go where you think you should fit best, and so it's kind of hard sometimes to tell.
Definitely. Thank you guys. I think that was some great insight. I definitely think that it's all about balance because we have a lot of stressful moments, but there's also a lot of memorable ones. And as we're starting to pick classes, like Eva said, I think all of what you guys said kind of goes hand in hand with it, talking about our futures and everything. So transitioning into my next question is actually for Hannah. How did you navigate through high school in your first year since you are a sophomore now?
I had a rough time, finding my way. I got lost a lot because I'm not very good at finding my directions at all. But I mean, it's everyone helps you around the school. Your teachers will help you, your friends will help you, and you'll figure it out at the end. But honestly, it was not that bad.
Awesome. And so, Eva, since you are a freshman, I wanted to ask you, what is one thing that you're looking forward to in your coming years? And you can kind of ask, Sarah any questions if you do as well, since she is our senior, or Gabby or Hannah.
I think what I'm most excited for the years to come is the memories. Really, these are the years that everyone talks about. They're always like, oh, my high school years, this and that. And so I'm just really excited to see where it takes me, and through the friends, the relationships, the teachers, all of it, the events. I'm really excited to see what's to come.
That's awesome. And now our senior, Sarah, I wanted to ask you what your favorite year was, if you had to choose.
My favorite year was probably junior year. I feel like that was the first year I actually became a teenager, because everybody starts driving, and it was the first year we were completely done with all the COVID protocols. I don't know, I just felt like I finally became a high schooler and a teenager. I really liked it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think COVID is definitely interesting because you will be the last year to have had
Yeah, for the high
virtual,
school.
right, in
Yeah.
high school, which is very interesting. Now I have a question for Gabby, and this is about your teachers and your mentors. I wanted to ask you if you could pick one, or you can say a couple of influential teachers or mentors in the building, and why is it important to have influential or inspirational people with you?
I think that's a great question. The first part I'll answer is the mentor. Instantly, I thought of Dr. Pyle. I had her last year as a sophomore in English class, and every day when you go into her room, she just makes you feel good and welcome, and you're ready to learn and engage in her class. And I think that she's so supportive. Even if you go back to her for advice, she'll be there for you, and she'll offer her honest opinion. And I think that's really important because you need guidance from someone who has your best interests at heart. And I think she does. And there's a lot of other teachers too that I could say that for in this building.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Gabby. And I kind of wanted to ask all of you this question, but I think high school is a very difficult transition for a lot of people, and it definitely shapes them. It can be a defining moment. It's definitely a milestone. So would anybody like to share maybe a defining moment for them through high school where you felt like this is something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life as really paving a way for me? I know that's a kind of a deep question, but if you guys have any moments you'd like to share.
For this, I go to my 8th period chemistry class. Chemistry is something that's different than anything I've ever done, and with my learning. So it was definitely a wake-up call, okay, this is challenging, but throughout the course of this year, I've tried to stay persistent and determined to get down the material. And it's definitely even now when I'm starting to get positive feedback, it's so rewarding. And I know down the road I'll be oh, I remember that class was so hard, but I pushed through and didn't give up through it.
Interesting. Thank you, Gabby. Anybody else?
My like memorable thing in high school would probably be like going into sports. Like that really helped me, and like just like talking to all the older kids as like a freshman, like getting to know everyone and like know what they did, and then also like just like being a part of a community. So like clubs or anything made me feel like I belonged, or like I had like a goal to reach, and it helped me a lot at the beginning.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I would say that mine was probably my first Fun Friday. I feel like Fun Friday is just like the epitome of high school, and like the spirits are so high. Like you're with your entire grade, and like it's just a friendly little competition. And it's just so much fun. I really love it. And then leads into homecoming weekend, and everybody's so happy. You know.
Yeah, I agree. The dances are like super fun, and that was such a good moment. But I think we should also recognize that today was parfait day. It was my first ever
Yes,
parfait
it
day,
was.
so that's always a plus.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I love how each of you guys kind of mentioned a unique part of the high school experience that makes up all of it. Like Gabby, I loved how you talked about, you know, your classes and how that could be kind of defining for you. And then Sarah, you talked about all of the fun activities we do in school, all those memories that it brings. And then Hannah, I think when you talked about clubs and activities, that's such a big part of your school experience. I'm very grateful that at Abington we have so many of them, and sports as well. And of course, parfait day. We go without that, and we gotta shout that out. So now I kind of asked this to Eva, but I kind of want to bring this to the entire group as well. What is something that you're looking forward to in the coming years? And it doesn't just have to be in high school. Sarah, going to college,
Yeah.
maybe in a future career. What's something that you're looking forward to?
I'll start. I mean, I'm very excited to go to college. I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but I love the school. Like, I love Abington Heights, but I'm excited to be somewhere different and learn like a different part of the country. I'm hoping to go out of state. So I'm just really excited for that change in my life and to experience something new and meet new people.
Amazing. Anybody else?
I'm looking forward to senior year, because even before how Eva said, like high school is like those memorable years and like defining moments, I think senior year is like talked about the most, and like, okay, senior schedule, even senior sunrise, like those memories created, I think I'm looking forward to a lot.
I'm probably looking forward to driving, because I just want to drive, and I haven't got my permit yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
And Eva, you have the most time, so what are you looking forward to?
I'm excited for just like new relationships and like new friends, and like just expanding on like every part of me, not just like learning and grades and all that stuff, but like trying to meet new people. Like, it's so interesting to come here and be like able to talk to upperclassmen, and these people like normally you wouldn't get to know, you wouldn't get to meet, and they're like older than you, but it's still interesting to meet with everyone and have classes that are like mixed grades. And so I find that really interesting.
Yeah. Who would have thought you'd be sitting here by your sister?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
I completely forgot to say this. If you couldn't tell by the last names, Gabby and Eva are sisters, which is even more interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, I meant to say that in the beginning, but yeah, I love every one of these girls. I just want to give them a shout out. I'm so happy to be able to be surrounded by people like them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love you,
Oh,
Hannah.
thank
You're
you.
so
Stop
nice.
it. Okay. So now I wanted to open the floor to you guys. If any of you have questions for each other, because I know that you guys are all in different grades, so I want to see maybe if I feel like Eva, especially, you might have questions for upperclassmen, or even upperclassmen to Eva. Do you guys have any?
I have one. Is junior year hard?
Junior year is definitely everything they say it is. It's the hardest, but I think it's like you have to go through that in order to like come out of it saying like I survived and like you're here.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the most important thing for junior year is balance. Like, and like I can't stress that enough. That's definitely something that's like helping me navigate junior year.
Absolutely. I think that's a very commonly asked question by many people. I know I had that question when I was a freshman and a sophomore. But yeah, does anybody have any else?
What do you guys suggest is a good way to like find that balance between what classes that you should take that might take like a lot more effort, or like higher level classes, but also fitting in like things that you really want to do, like electives, into that?
I think whatever pushes you the most to like think about it and like challenge yourself, but not overly challenge yourself where you're struggling, like right at that middle point.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep in mind, like, just because other people are maybe going into a higher class or doing something different, that I have to like really think about just me.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
That's advice that Eva tries to tell me, but I don't know if I always listen.
It's definitely difficult to find that balance. I think that as we progress and we get older, we start to kind of learn what our priorities are going to be and how far we want to get into that path of challenging courses, for example, versus things that we actually want to do. But it's unique to each person, I think, too. And it's about what you personally want to do. I know, Sarah, this is your first year not having to pick classes next year, and
That's nice.
it's nice, yeah.
It's very nice.
But do you think that you kind of came into that kind of maturity of knowing what your balance would be later on in your high school years?
I think I definitely did. Like, I realized very quickly what subjects I didn't like. And if I didn't like it as much, then I wasn't going to take it as an AP class. Like, I know that there's a lot of pressure of like, oh, well, my friends are taking this, so I should take it too, but you're never guaranteed to be in the same class period as them. That's something you have to remember, like, or even picking a class because a teacher teaches it. Things move around all the time. Like, you just can't, you can't bet on it, because like, especially in my grade, I feel like every year of high school there has been a teacher who has taught that for years. They go on a sabbatical to like redo the curriculum. So like my grade, we didn't have Dr. Pryal, which we had Miss Owens, which was equally amazing, but we didn't have Dr. Pryal. And then junior year, like for honors math, we didn't have Mr. Preachy. So like, really just don't pick classes based off of the teacher. I highly recommend that, because it's always moving around.
Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Definitely. I think we're all a little guilty of that sometimes, but it's definitely difficult to know exactly what you want to do and to not let any of those other influences, distract you from that.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I want to add something. I think that I've had like a different experience than sometimes other people, because I do have an older sister that's here in high school, and so I kind of want to ask you guys, how did you all like find your way through, and like what was that like, not having that like sibling, that older sibling there? If you did, I mean, I don't know if you had.
I had an older sister. She was in the high school. She graduated when I was a sophomore, and then I also had an older brother. He was graduated by the time I got here, but they both helped me a lot, for sure.
Yeah.
Hannah has a very interesting experience. Would you like to share?
Well, I have a twin, so that's like, I don't know if it helps or not, but it's just like, I mean, we could help each other. Like, if he's struggling in something, I can help him. If I'm struggling in something, he will help me. And like, also, I just asked a lot of my like friends that I knew, like family friends. They helped a lot. Like Hannah helped me a lot, and like other people as well. But yeah, and my dad also helped me a lot too. So yeah.
Shout out to our parents.
How about you, Hannah?
For me, I do have an older sister. I never was in high school with her, though. I did ask her for advice, but I think it's interesting, almost doing everything, with your siblings throughout your life, and then coming into high school, which is such a different experience from anything you've done. It's almost nice to have a little bit of independence, because, you're not always going to have your sibling, obviously, in real life, but it's difficult to not have someone like that, kind of always that you can count on. And I think that I have made a lot of friendships throughout the school where I feel like I do have older siblings, like Sarah, for example, and so many of the seniors. I feel like you do make those relationships even if you don't have an actual sibling. And teachers too, they play such a big role in everything, because I mean, they are really the defining factor of your experience in school on so many levels. And you will find teachers that will just change your life. And I think that I definitely did in high school, and I think that is everything. Does anybody else have any questions they want to ask anybody? I think we kind of covered a lot, but anybody does? Okay, so final thoughts then. What did you guys think of the first episode?
I love that.
It was
Yeah,
so
so fun.
It was like so peaceful coming in
Yeah.
here, and we all just got to like talk like low pressure and just share our thoughts and ideas.
Learned a lot from everyone. It was great. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. And thank you guys
Thank
so
you,
much
Hannah.
for joining us.
Thank you for
Of course.
And
for
thank
having
you
us.
to everyone
Thank
who
you.
listened. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. And I want to remind everybody, again, that this is just our first episode. We have a lot more in store. And I really encourage everybody to keep listening because we're going to be having some very interesting stories to tell throughout this year and coming into the years ahead. And I encourage everyone also to stop by the SLC or contact Ms. Owens if you'd like to get involved in this podcast at all or anything in AH Media, because this is a production through AH Media. And yes, I want to thank Ms. Owens for everything that she does and for this podcast and for all of her involvements in AH Media, because couldn't be done without her. But yeah, thank you so much again, and I guess we will see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.